You are listening to Unwanted Football Opinions.
So welcome to another episode of Unwanted Football Opinions, and today we are going to do the match day recap or the game week recap, and I am your host Advait, and I am going to be speaking about Premier League, Serie and Ligue 1. So talking about Premier League, this game week kicked off with the game of Chelsea versus Crystal Palace, and Chelsea beat Crystal Palace 4-0. It was quite a good game. Like Chelsea, we could see the different kind of Chelsea in the game with the high pressing and really wonderful performance by Ben Chilwell. And there was no defensive error because of a really good dictated defense through Thiago Silva and Azpilicueta, who started together. It even marked a 5-minute presence for Christian Pulisic, but it was not quite effective. But we saw a nice game to see. But Crystal Palace resisted till the first half. It was 0-0. After that, it became 4-0. And there were two of them. Those came through penalties by Jorginho. The next game we are talking about is Everton versus Brighton. And yes, and I just want to say Everton for the Premier League Cup. Yes, and Everton have just played really well till now. They're the only team with complete 12 points out of 4 games, and James Rodriguez, boy, he is playing really good. That is something very, very, very fresh to see, considering Premier League and considering how he has performed with other clubs, and the way they are playing nice high pressing football with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, an English footballer, a striker who runs past defenses on his strength but is fighting for the ball at the same time. So it was a really good match. The third match we'll be talking about is Leeds versus Man City, and it was a 1-1 draw. And honestly speaking, Marcelo Bielsa is a genius, and Manchester City were lucky that it was only 1-1. It was not 3-1 or something. As you could see, Rodrigo and Patrick Bamford, there were few of their attempts which were denied, and it was a really great game. Next coming to Newcastle versus Burnley, and it turns out to be that Callum Wilson is a very good signing, has been a very good signing for Newcastle. And they even continue a good run with defeating Burnley. Burnley has had a dismal start to the season. Next, the big shock, one of the big shocks, as West Ham had just defeated 4-0 Wolves also, and now against Leicester, winning 3-0 with an amazing performance by West Ham, especially Michael Antonio and the controllers of the ball, Declan Rice. You can even speak about the defenders, how West Ham is actually playing good, and actually David Moyes is not even in the pitch. So next, considering Southampton and West Brom, Southampton look decent, but West Brom looks like a team which is going to be relegated very soon. Fulham and West Brom, they need to improve their game a lot. Considering Arsenal and Sheffield United have had the most surprising or the most horror start to the season, with Sheffield United not being up to the mark. Their defensive woes are a lot, and Arsenal just capitalized it. And by the way, the first Arsenal goal was my favorite goal of the week because of the amazing teamwork with Bukayo Saka scoring the goal. Considering Wolves and Fulham, Wolves came really close and they deserved the win, but Fulham had few attempts, and a really, really good goal by Pedro Neto, well deserved. And then coming to the two big shocks of the week. First is Man U versus Spurs. The match was at Old Trafford, started with Spurs. Man U got the first penalty in 29 seconds, and Man U scored the penalty through Bruno Fernandes, obviously. And it just lasted like half a minute with Ndombele scoring, and then there was a riot there, the whole pitch. But there was a big incident during the game where Anthony Martial actually kind of got a red card for almost slapping you. I would not like to call it a slap, like a kind of push or like a kind of an attempt to get Eric Lamela out of the way. But Eric Lamela had initiated the fight, and VAR checked it, and still Eric Lamela didn't get any card. I would say both of them deserved red cards if it was that the scene. But Martial has been suspended from the game. With the 10-man Manchester United, Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw, honestly, they were sleeping in the field. There was a non-existent defense. It was very easy for Spurs to just play that high-pressing football, and beautiful game through Harry Kane and Son. Harry Kane is one of the strikers who is now even assisting more than he's scoring. So that was a really amazing game with Serge Aurier also getting into good positions, and I think Regulon for Spurs has been one of the best signings till now in Premier League. Like James Rodriguez, Regulon, like you can say many players, but I think Spurs have got a great bargain, and Højbjerg also controlling the game. They needed a CDM who is a very strong CDM. Then considering Aston Villa and Liverpool, okay, what was that? The winners of the league were humbled down by Aston Villa. Aston Villa has had the second team with a perfect start with 9 points in 3 games. And Aston Villa, people had spoken them about that they will be relegated this season. Even in fact, I also predicted that they'll be relegated. But what a start! And I just have one point, that Liverpool just looks sloppy throughout the game. There's no other explanation, and I feel like this kind of confidence, this gegenpress was supposed to fail. But the problem is that the players from the opposite team are getting inside the box very easily. You could see their aerial balls and the counter pressure. It was proper counter-attacking football, but Aston Villa were on point all the time. You could see it was not the fault of Van Dijk or someone specific, but it was first of all, when you don't have a good keeper at the back, that is how underconfident you feel. There's a point that I have to make, is that all big Liverpool losses have come when Adrian was there as a backup keeper. But that's the thing, Liverpool have very bad backup teams. I think they need many new signings. As you could see, the keeper matters a lot. Like Chelsea had Kepa. Kepa was a very, very, very bad keeper for Chelsea, and underconfidence for the whole team. Same thing in Aston Villa, Liverpool, but I could see that they don't have a proper centre back next to Van Dijk. Like Joe Gomez is good, but like they need that approach. And whenever Henderson doesn't start, he's not able to control the ball going towards the back from midfield. The problem with Keita is Keita has more attacking abilities than defensive abilities. Only one fantastic player, Fabinho. Liverpool were unlucky at times because 3 goals went through deflections, but any day, this was a win deserved by Aston Villa, and 7-2 is a very, very, very big victory, considering that after 1963, Liverpool have conceded more than 6 goals for the first time, and that's a very big defeat for the champions and Klopp. And there's a lot of thinking to go to, and now we're coming to a 14-day international break where teams are supposed to play, and the international players are supposed to play 3 games per week. And that is as a very, very tough thing. I just hope that many of the Premier League clubs which have the momentum right now, like Everton, Aston Villa, don't lose their players to injury, and other clubs who are just gaining momentum, and like Spurs and other clubs, so they should not lose the momentum because of injuries. And now talking about transfer deadline day, that 5th of transfer deadline day, so I think the deals that are supposed to happen, I see is Thomas Partey to Arsenal. They're going for they're meeting his release clause of 50 million, and if it happens, it will be a great bargain. Arsenal need one of these midfielders. Matteo Guendouzi might leave on loan to Hertha BSC from Chelsea. Antonio Rudiger might go to Spurs on loan. Emerson Palmieri has agreed a deal to Juventus. And okay, on your face, Man U fans, Sancho is not happening. Please stop it. So Jadon Sancho is not happening, and I feel that irrespective of the Spurs result of 6-1 against Man U, I feel that Man U will be able to sign Edinson Cavani at least. Alex Telles, I don't know. Edinson Cavani, he's without a job. This is the best opportunity, and Man U is a club where they need a striker. So I feel these kind of transfer deals should happen deadline day, and I see still that Liverpool should have some sort of insurgency of signing at least a decent backup centre back, a young guy, and there's a lot of thinking for many teams. So many teams should build on this momentum. Then next, speaking about Serie, Juventus and Napoli, what was that? It was so true. According to Italian government, the rule is that Napoli team, which had 2 COVID positive players, they can't travel till the Juventus stadium, till the stadium in Turin. But the problem is that Serie still said that Napoli has to play, and there was Juventus team for the match, and Napoli didn't even turn up because they couldn't travel with that team. And considering that, Serie just gave Juventus 3 points. Okay, that is horrible administration. That is not football, and that is health is way more important than that. Then considering to results, we'll be talking about Roma and Udinese. Roma won 1-0, and Roma has been playing good. And there were goals through Pedro at the first time. And Atalanta and Cagliari. Atalanta is unstoppable, honestly, and Cagliari has a debut through Dio Gordon, but still Atalanta humbling Cagliari 5-2. Then we saw Lazio and Inter, 2 red cards from each side, and Inter looked strong, but Lazio getting ahead with a goal by Milinkovic-Savic and Immobile getting a red card, and Inter played really well with closing with a good result by AC Milan. AC Milan scored 3 goals against Spezia. So the Serie table looks like with Atalanta on top and Milan on second and Sassuolo on third. And I would just like to go back to Premier League also. The league table, first is Everton, second is Aston Villa, and third is I think Leicester City. And this has been like a fantastic start to Premier League. Just pure English football, anyone can win. Third, considering Ligue 1, we had a game between Marseille and Lyon, and Marseille and Lyon met 1-1, and I don't think Memphis Depay is going to leave. Few big signings that will look before the transfer deadline day ends is Bayern Munich going for a great rush. Bayern Munich might get Douglas Costa. Eric Maximin Choupo-Moting from PSG is going to be great bargain deal and a really good backup striker Robert Lewandowski, because Joshua Zirkzee doesn't look up to the mark, but he is a star in the making, definitely. And Mark Roca also is a winner for Bayern Munich by a great signing. And I expect Real Madrid to sign, not to sign at least as a backup to Vinicius Junior, because Eden Hazard has been injured perennially, and I don't think with Vinicius Junior's finishing improving, they need a very good backup winger, but they should have someone, because if Vinicius is injured, they are in a sense of insurgency. And one more thing is that Manchester City need a striker. Manchester City have spent a lot of money on players like defenders. What they really need is a team which controls the game. Manchester City can't continue like this in the Premier League, and I hope the international break turns out to be very good and a very thoughtful break for many of the teams in the Premier League right now. So this is my weekend recap for you guys. Thanks a lot.
There has been in the Bundesliga so far in the past week, there has been a lot of interesting fixtures and a lot of interesting results, unbelievable results, superb matches, as well as in the Liga as well. There have been a lot of fixtures that took us by surprise as well. So we'll just go into the Bundesliga table and the results. So match day 3 started with Union Berlin versus Mainz. Union, they just destroyed Mainz 4-0. Borussia Dortmund breezed past Freiburg with 4-0. Eintracht Frankfurt beat Hoffenheim by 2-1. They dropped Hoffenheim down the table, and Cologne lost to Borussia Mönchengladbach at home. Bremen beat the new entrants Arminia Bielefeld by 1-0. Stuttgart and Leverkusen draw 1-1. Leipzig beat Schalke 4-0. Wolfsburg drew with Augsburg 0-0. And Bundesliga classic match to say, Bayern Munich edge Hertha Berlin 4-3. So now we'll move on to some of the biggest matches, like the big teams, and how did their weekend go out. So Bayern faced Hertha on Sunday, and boy, it was a brilliant game. I have no words for the game. I watched the game full, and it was just absolute masterclass from Robert Lewandowski. If it weren't for him, Bayern were losing that game. And all credits to Hertha as well. They fought till the end, and it took a 90+3, stoppage time penalty from Lewandowski to give Bayern the win. The match was to and fro. Lewandowski was all over there, and the goal scorers for Hertha were John Cordoba, Matheus Cunha, and Jessic Nangnam, who scored as a substitute literally in his first touch. So from Bayern, we go on to Dortmund, and for Dortmund, it was more of an authoritative victory, if you can call it. Erling Haaland again sensational and continues his goal scoring form. He scores a double and one assist as well. But for me, the best player in the game was Giovanni Reina. He was all over. He was involved in every single goal scored by Dortmund, except for the last one, I think. Felix Passlack, that was Erling Haaland's assist, and Emre Can scored a banger in this game. Absolute brilliant. And it was what Dortmund were just too good for Freiburg. Moving on to Leipzig versus Schalke, and it's not a surprise also. Leipzig just breezed past Schalke. Schalke were horrible, and they continue the horrible form. They haven't won a single game till now, even though they sacked their manager David Wagner after the previous game. Leipzig were all over Schalke, and you would just see, if you haven't watched the game live, just see the highlights and you'll understand. Angelino was in brilliant form, a brilliant goal by him. And for me, the standout player was Emil Forsberg. Like, he has been brilliant form. He's been creating a lot of chances. The other goal scorers were Chan Bosgan, Marcel Hostenberg, and Willi Orban. And so that pretty much sums up the Bundesliga. And it was an exciting week, especially the Bayern versus Hertha game. It was end-to-end stuff and absolutely brilliant. So now we'll move on to La Liga. We'll move on to the Bundesliga table standings. So as of now, Leipzig are on top of the table with 7 points. Actually, there are 3 teams tied on 7 points. Leipzig, Augsburg, and Eintracht Frankfurt. And Bayern Munich come in 4th. And 4th, 5th, 6th all are tied on 6 points, namely Bayern München, Borussia Dortmund, and TSG Hoffenheim. And moving on to the relegation zone, FC Cologne occupy the relegation playoff spots, and Mainz and Schalke are 17th and 18th and are in the relegation spots. So that's all with the Bundesliga. I'm sorry I missed out on the table. Now we'll move on to the La Liga. So we'll just round out the fixtures. Match day 5 for La Liga. Real Valladolid lost to Eibar at home 1-2. Atletico Madrid and Villarreal drew 0-0. Real Sociedad breezed past Getafe 3-0. Elche and Huesca drew 0-0. Real Betis continued their brilliant form by beating Valencia 2-0. Osasuna beat Celta de Vigo 2-0. And Alaves Stern Athletic Club 1-0. And Real Madrid edge Levante 2-0. Cadiz and Granada had a stalemate between themselves 1-1. And so as for the Barcelona and Sevilla, the big game for the weekend in La Liga, it was a stalemate 1-1. Now we'll move on to the big games, like big teams involved in La Liga, the title contenders. And first we'll go on to the biggest game of the weekend in La Liga, and which is Barcelona versus Sevilla. It was a tight game. Both teams were in it, and as you can see even the stats, it was pretty much even. And Yeah, so Philippe Coutinho scored for Barcelona early on, 10 minutes into the game. Sorry, Luke de Jong scored earlier, my bad, for Sevilla. And just after that, Philippe Coutinho equalized. And yeah, it was a tight match. Not much to differentiate between the two teams. And we'll go on to Real Madrid. So Real Madrid, even though they won 2-0, it was a really tight match between them and Levante. Levante actually scoring more shots on target than Real Madrid. But Real Madrid were always superior defensively. They were very strong defensively. Vinicius opened the scoring 16 minutes. Karim Benzema then made it 2-0 in injury time. So it was a comfortable win, if you say, even though Levante played brilliantly. So next game, we'll move on to Atletico Madrid versus Villarreal, which was a stalemate. Boy, Atletico got a lot of chances, and unfortunately they were not able to convert any of them. 13 shots shots for Atletico compared to Villarreal's 6 shots. And even position wise, passes, everything, Atletico were better. And we'll move on to the table, La Liga table. So as of now, Real Madrid sits comfortably in first place. So they haven't lost a game till now, and they won 3 and drew 1. They are followed by Real Betis, Real Sociedad, Villarreal, and Barcelona finished in 5th because of their draw against Sevilla, and Sevilla are on 6th position. So that rounds up the top 6. And moving on to the relegation zone, Levante and Athletic and Valladolid are in the relegation zones 18, 19, 20 respectively. So on to the other matches that happened throughout the weekend, we can say the DFL Super Cup happened in the last weekend, and it was also a brilliant match, another close match, and it required a moment of absolute brilliance, what you call peace of mind, from Joshua Kimmich. Unbelievable. The game was moving to dying minutes, and it was going to be penalties if it was because it too. And Joshua Kimmich, my God, brilliant run from the heart of defense, and unbelievable goal. You should watch the goal, it's superb. And the game overall was a tight game. Dortmund and Bayern, it was like end-to-end stuff. Erling Haaland was brilliant, and to be honest, it was a stupid decision from Lucien Favre to sub on Erling Haaland, and you could surely see the frustration on Erling Haaland's face. He felt like shit. He literally told like that in the interview. So moving on to some of the huge transfers that happened throughout the week. And Bayern Munich have hit the transfer market last few days, and at the time of recording, they've signed Douglas Costa. They signed Eric Choupo-Moting on free deal. Douglas Costa was on loan. And they signed Marc Roca from Espanyol recently, and that was 15 million deal. All these deals are coming just like one day prior to the closing of the transfer window, and nobody expected that. And one more signing is expected to come for them, which is in the form of F.A.R. from Olympique Marseille. And as far as Leipzig were also busy in the transfer market. They bought Sorloth and all. So that pretty much does it for, and not any big news. There have been rumors linking Advait to Barcelona, and Real Madrid have not been involved in any deal so far. So does Atletico Madrid and Sevilla. So not much big transfers in La Liga as well. So that was pretty much sums up our weekend review, and Please do subscribe and like our channel, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.